Coach Paul.
So you have to excuse me, I'm a little bit jet lag. I literally came off the plane at 6:30 from Germany, so I'm pretty kind of wiped out, but I didn't want to let Chris down. Didn't want to let you guys down. So some of you know I still work with some elite athletes, and we have an athlete at Lindenwood actually, she's in the graduate program, who got invited to the German National Championships in the 20K race program. And so she's trying to hit the Olympic qualifying mark for Rio. And interestingly, for London in 2012, this little race walker, Jessica Ching, she goes to school, some of you know her, I think. But the Olympic qualifying standard was 1 hour and 38 minutes. So 1 hour, 38 minutes, 0-0, right? And so, we set a goal for this year to go, because, goal setting's important, right, Freddie? So we set the goal on everything that she's got, every training program. She's got cards all over her room. That was her goal, right? Because we figured, we're not really sure what the Olympic qualifying standard is going to be for Rio. We know it's going to change. Actually, we just found out, and it's crushing. But that's what we set as our goal for this year. So we got invited to this German National Championship. They paid our way to go out there, and so we went there, and the whole time I'm talking to her about, the plan. We're going through doing visualization, we're doing mental imagery, we're doing a lot of things that you guys have been doing and getting ready for your season this year. And we get to the start line, there was an Australian lass in the race, and she's going after the World Championships qualifying, so we put them together to go to 13K to 20K together. And anyway, to cut a long story short, unbelievably, our little race walker went 1:37:59. She crossed the finish line and hit that on the nose. I think, you could have changed it by at least a second. She said, Coach, that's what you told me to do. So that's what I did. And as she's coming down the finishing chute, I've been watching the clock, right? The Olympic qualifying mark was 1:38 in London, so I'm watching the clock. And I swear, she slows down as she's getting to the finish line just to mess with my mind. I actually wanted to reach out, grab her, and pull her across the line, because I didn't think she was going to get in under 1:38. But she set a new Hong Kong record, and it was a good accomplishment. But we just found out that the Olympic standard has been moved 2 minutes. So, can you believe that? So she hits the Olympic qualifying for London, and it's the only standard in track and field that got moved extraordinarily differently to what all the standards for all the different track and field events, jumps, rows, sprints, hurdles. It was the race walk women's. The men's didn't change. The race walk women's got changed. So we're not really sure why. We think it's because last year it was just a really good year for women race walk, and there's a bunch of really fast women race walkers. But anyway, so now we have to change the goal. So as soon as she crossed over the finish line, well, I let her drink some water. I gave her a new card. And so a new card reads that. So she wasn't very happy, but I don't want to get complacent, right? So now we're going for sub 135. But you guys have been working on goal setting, and I want to tell you just how important it is. And it's so important to her. In her mind, she had programmed a whole 20K race to go after this. And now that she's gone after this, we can't rest on our laurels. We automatically, I create a new goal for her. And so now we're going after something a little bit faster. So pretty exciting stuff. Chris asked me to come talk to you, and we're going to do, I'll have to look it up in a second, but do a little bit of mindfulness work first. Can we do that? Yeah. So before we do this, I'll tell you a quick little story. So once upon a time, there was a great cycling coach, and she just loved her athletes so much, she would do anything for them. And she was walking along the street, and she came outside CJ's house, and she noticed that CJ was out there on his front lawn in this long grass on his knees looking, with tears coming down his face. He was really upset. He was in a state of agitation, high anxiety. And Coach Julie walks over and says, CJ, what's going on? And again, tears in his eyes. He said, I've lost my key. I can't find my key. It's somewhere in the group. I just lost my key. I can't find it anywhere. And she says, you know what? I'll help you. And being the coach that Coach Julie is, she gets down on her knees and she starts looking through the grass, right? So she's on her knees, CJ's on her knees, looking everywhere. An hour goes by. Can't find this key anywhere. And finally, Coach Julie says, CJ, it's not looking good. So, do you know where you lost it? Was it right around here? And he says, yeah, I know where I lost it. And he says, oh, good. Do you know roughly where? Did you hear it fall down? And he says, yeah, I lost it in the house. Coach Julie looks at him and says, you lost it in the house? And it's this beautiful sunny day outside, and he says, yeah, but I was having a real problem in the house, there wasn't enough light. So I decided, I'll come out here and look for it. I'll let that settle in for a second. So, but my point is, sometimes as athletes, as elite athletes, and you're all elite athletes, we go looking in the wrong places. Do you understand what I'm saying? Think about it for a second. We go looking in the wrong places. My goal for every elite athlete that I get a chance to work with, either as a coach or as a sports psychologist, is to let every single athlete take 100% responsibility for everything that they do. I'm preaching to the choir in here, because the fact that you guys are all at this meeting and you care so much about your sport, you're already doing this. But 100% responsibility means you don't go looking in the wrong places. CJ should have been on his hands and knees in the dark in his bedroom looking for that key, because that's where he lost it, right? CJ, did you find it, by the way?
Cody Barrett found it.
Cody Barrett found it? That's great. So, I'm like having an ice hockey player come and help you find the key. So, but my point is, are you looking in the right places? Ask yourself that. Are you taking 100% responsibility for everything that you do? And in cycling, obviously, you've got a lot of mechanical stuff going on to make sure that your bike is ready to go. So there's a lot more preparation that goes into your sport than in most. And you've got to make sure that, all your equipment is ready to go. You've got to make sure you're hitting all your workouts. You've got to make sure that you are getting to the races on time. And not only are you getting to the races and you're there, but you're mindfully there. And that's what we're going to do with a couple of exercises in a second. In fact, you can choose. You want to pass those around. So everybody gets a piece of candy. Don't eat it right away, though. I mean, there's two different types. You can choose which one. If you are anti-chocolate or lactose intolerant, we'll just do an imaginary chocolate for you. So that everybody else knocks themselves out. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about when I talk about responsibility? Responsibility and what mindfulness is all about, and Chris, I think, may have already shared some of kind of what mindfulness relates to. Mindfulness is being in the moment.
I got you on.
As an elite athlete, we always want to be in the moment. We always want to be aware of what's happening. And again, you guys are cyclists, that's all of you, so you have to be in control of everything that's happening when you are on your bikes, whether you're in BMX, you're time trialing, whether you're on track. And so having some mindfulness skills will actually help you accomplish what it is you're trying to accomplish when you're racing. So I want to do a couple of little exercises. First of all, let's do a quick little exercise. Free yourself up a little bit. I want you to sit forward in your seat. So no slouching. Just kind of maybe push your chair back just a little bit and sit so that you're not resting your spine in the chair at all. So you're actually going to plant your feet on the floor for me. Okay? So we're just going to do a little relaxing check-in. Okay? So before we start this, can everybody just take a deep breath for me? Everybody just take a deep breath. Oh, you can let it out, so just breathe. So we're okay. You don't need to hold it. Okay. Don't leave that blue. I just watched 50% of the room do this. When they took a deep breath. What is the problem with that? Is there a problem with that? Where are you breathing from? When you go, where are you breathing from? Breathing from here, right? Here up. Where should we be spending more time breathing from? Right here, right? Diaphragmatic breathing, right here in our core. So it's really interesting because if we spend all of our time breathing from here, we're really not breathing. I can't believe I'm teaching athletes how to breathe now, but that's okay. We all have to learn something. But my point is we need to use more of our body when we're breathing if we truly want to get advantage out of just breathing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little breathing exercise. So in a second I'm going to ask you to just ground your feet, stay nice and relaxed, sit really tall, and I'm going to have you shut your eyes and we're going to do a couple of little breathing exercises. Is that all right with everybody? But when you do it, I don't want you just to breathe from neck up, I want you to breathe from here down. And what I'm going to ask you to do is take a breath in, going to hold it, and then we're going to release it. And we're doing it on a count. So we'll start at 5 seconds. So go ahead and shut your eyes. Shut your eyes. Be nice and relaxed. Okay, when I say go, you're going to take a deep breath in. So you're going to inhale through your nose for a count of 5 seconds. Then I'm going to hold you for 2 seconds. And then you're going to exhale for a count of 5 seconds also. Okay? So ready and inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Exhale through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep your eyes shut. We're going to do it again. Again, make sure you inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, and try and make the breath last for my count. We're going to go to 6 seconds. I want you to concentrate on nothing but your breathing and how you're feeling right now in this moment. Okay, take a breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold it. Hold it. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep your eyes shut. Just be nice, relax. Try and scan your body a little bit, see where you might be holding some tension. We're actually going to go to 7. And the hard part of this is concentrating and focusing right here in a moment without letting your attention wander, focusing on this count, focusing on being able to inhale for a whole 7 count and then exhale for a whole 7 count. So you're learning how to control the breathing. Okay, we'll go to 7. Ready? Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold. Hold. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe normal for a second. Do it one more time. And go to 8. Try and be nice, relax. Again, check in through your body. See where you might be carrying an extra little bit of tension. If it's there, think it out. All right, get ready. Inhale, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold, hold. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep your eyes closed. I'm just going to do a quick little body scan. And you do this mentally by going from your head to your toe, trying to be aware of your breathing, be aware of how you're feeling right now, in the moment, in this classroom, with your teammates, feet on the floor, sitting in this chair. Just focus on your breathing. If you have thoughts creep in, embrace them, but just push them away. And just focus again back on your breathing. Take one deep breath in. Hold it. Hold it. And let it out. When you're ready to open the floor, go ahead and open your eyes. Come back to your work. Now that is a very, very simple breathing exercise. One you can use at any time. It's called scaling when we add seconds. And some of you might have used this before, where you might start at 1, maybe go up to 6 and come back to 1. If any of you have issues with anxiety, I treat actually some athletes that have significant panic attacks and anxiety. This is one technique that works very well. It's also a great way, right before a race is going to start and you're feeling tense at the start line, to just center yourself and be there in the moment. And I know the BMX bikers, and we've got many in the room, you guys are having a great year, but at the gate, you've got to be ready to fly. And you can't afford to not be there in the moment. If you're not there in the moment, it might be too late, right? Right, Greg? Correct. Okay. So what we're going to do now, choose your favorite piece of candy, and I noticed boys have big piles of it. That's fine. We're not judging you. We're not judging you. So you're going to go ahead and get a piece of candy. So what I'd like you to do, we're going to do a little mindfulness exercise so you can kind of understand what this is all about. And by the way, I should tell you before, look, some people already unwrap. Don't unwrap it. Delayed gratification. You'll get some in a second. I promise. I promise. Let's talk about mindfulness. How many hours should we be awake usually? Or how many hours are we usually awake for in a day? Typically. 60. Let's say 60. Okay, so 2/3 of our day we're usually awake. Maybe some of us comatose in the classroom, religion or philosophy at AM, I understand. But 16 hours a day we're awake. How many of those hours do the researchers believe we are actually fully aware of what's happening in our life and in our world? Like consciously aware of what's going on in our life? 2. Researchers have actually done these experiential sampling studies where they have actually tapped into reality is only 2 of 16 hours we are consciously and fully present in whatever it is we're doing, whether that's walking to class, brushing our teeth, eating dinner, breakfast, lunch, going to class, hanging out with boyfriend, girlfriend, playing on our phone, playing video games, training, 2 hours. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I do the math on that. The easiest way to double our life expectancy is to do what?
Zone out.
What's that?
Zone out.
Sit out?
Zone out.
Zone out? I'm not sure about that. No, I think that would go from 2 hours to 1 hour. I was thinking about doubling how conscious we are. But if that works for you, we're okay. I'm going in the other direction. But that's what we're at. But if you think about it, if we want to live full and meaningful lives, and I'm talking about in your sport too, and I teach all of my athletes that I'm working with, particularly my endurance, because I mean, like you guys are on the road sometimes for 6 hours for a training ride, right? For our marathoners, we may have a 3 or 4 hour training run. And so, it's tough sometimes to be in the moment and mindful of every second of that. And you probably don't want to be, because disassociation can actually help you get through that ride sometimes. So I understand that, but what I'm saying is we should still be aware of what's happening around us. And if we can double our awareness, generally we're happier people, and also we're not wasting our time here. So if you can even double your awareness of what's happening in training, you will be a more successful athlete and a more successful rider. So let's do a little exercise right here. So I want you just to pick up don't unwrap it yet, but just pick it up and take a look at it. So I want you to take a look at it, bring it up to eye level, maneuver it in your hands a little bit. I want you to take the chance to take in as much detail about I love you all because I bought you kisses. But I want you to take in every detail of your kiss, and I know some of you it's the only kiss you're getting this semester. But that's okay. But I want you to take in every detail of the kiss. So take in the colored paper, take in the form, the shape, the writing on it. Really take a moment to study it. I mean, you've probably all been kissed, or at least had a kiss in your hand many times. You've probably eaten many. Easter just happened. But have you really taken the time to study it? Maybe there's something you're seeing for the first time, maybe not, and that's okay. I want you to study it. Be in a moment with your kiss. After you feel you've had enough of that, go ahead and peel back the layer. But don't eat it. Just slowly peel back the paper from your kiss. Take time to do it. Really kind of almost discovering what's underneath that wrapper for the very first time. I know some of you are salivating already. I understand what's going on here. Don't give in. Don't give in to the temptation. Now study the form of the chocolate underneath the wrapper. Take a moment to really look at it. Because I know sometimes we unwrap our chocolates and they go straight in our tummy and the wrapper goes straight in the garbage can. We don't take time to study it. Why should we? We're hungry. We're going to read it. Bring it up to your nose. Maybe, is there a smell to it? Is there a smell? I don't know. What does it feel like in your fingers? Be tactile. What does that surface feel like? Either the paper or chocolate itself. Now we're getting to that moment. That moment, this is going to be hard for some of you, I know. When I say go, I want you to put it on your tongue. Don't take a bite, don't swallow it, don't be salivary liquoring it. I just want you to put it on your tongue and just let it sit there for a moment. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, just let it sit there. You've never had an eating culinary experience like this. Okay. Just let it sit there. No chewing! No chewing, I'm saying chewing. Just let it sit there. Let that experience happen for you. Being mindful in the moment. There's something in your tongue, it's sweet. You know, different parts of your tongue have different sensations, right? Move it around in your tongue if you want. Now, before you start chomping on it, I want you to allow intention to creep in. So let there be an intention to either bite it, eat it, swallow it. I want you to feel the intention before you take that drastic step. But when you feel that the intention is there, then follow through, but slowly savor the chocolate, savor the kiss in your mouth. And really take the time to experience eating the chocolate kiss. as you're reading it, think about what images this might be conjuring up for some of you. Some of you might be thinking about time at home, vacations, you're hungry, you're sleepy, thinking about boyfriend or girlfriend, this is sweet. Take some more. And don't eat too quick, just take your time. Front row there is almost gone already, but they've got plenty, they've got 4 or 5 in front of them, so they're going to be just fine. So what's coming? Look at you. Thank you. Josh says, I'm a competitor. I can hold it in my mouth longer than anybody in the room. Nobody else is going to read it faster than me or slower than me. The freshman in the room is gone already. I mean, I understand. You can let it go. Come on, take your time. Still take your time. Those of you who have already finished off their first piece of chocolate, what are we trying to do with this little exercise? So we're talking about mindfulness, being present in the moment as an elite athlete. What has eating this chocolate got anything to do with being an elite cyclist? Anybody want to take a crack? This is audience participation time.
See like how calm we can get?
Now, did taking the time, has that brought you down a level, right? So really being present. Sometimes I think we get so riled up and so just go. We don't take the time to just settle ourselves, right? What a great way to center ourselves, just eating a piece of chocolate. How many of you take 5 minutes, maybe 10, to eat your lunch or dinner, and then you've gone and move you off to the next thing, right? Rather than just taking the time to eat. And we know, research supports this, as an elite athlete, if we slow down our eating habits, we're going to get more nutrients out of the food. It's going to put us in a place where we can actually feel more rested. Food is actually recovery for an elite athlete. And, oftentimes when we eat very quick and go, we're not drinking the fluids that we should be drinking. So, making sure, this is all part of this. So thank you for that. Anything else? What else is the purpose behind it?
Actually thinking about what we're doing instead of just running through the motions.
How about that? How about actually taking some time to process exactly what's happening in our experience? Understand, your careers are going to go really fast. Now, some of you are you're going to be cycling into your 90s, I know. I can still do it, I know. But in terms of being an elite, high-level athlete, it's a short time period. It's a short time period. Sometimes, we don't want to lose the opportunity to really be at our best at all times. We want to be able to process this experience so we can be at our best. Okay, good. Anything else? 2 big ones. Did that take concentration a little bit? Because what did we really want to do? We didn't want to eat it, right? We just want to get in there and eat it. So taking some time, being mindful of what we're doing, and really concentrating on the experience is also part of being a lead athlete. So can I introduce one more mindfulness technique? I know we want to get to our little it's a short 8-minute video, and I'm going to give you guys all a personality profile today. You'll learn a little bit about yourself. So let's do one little mindfulness technique. What I'm going to do is everybody in here probably has something that they're uncomfortable with or something they fear. It may or may not relate to your sport. May or may not. So I'm going to put you through an exercise and just show you how we might be able to use this to deal with something we might be struggling with. So again, go ahead and make yourself comfortable so you can sit back in your chair. Just make yourself comfortable in your chair. There's a couple of different ways to do this, so I'll just choose one of my more favorite ways. But go ahead and shut your eyes. It's easier to visualize this if you shut your eyes. What I want you to do, and this is kind of a hard thing for some people to do, I want you to think about something that you fear. I'm not necessarily talking about spiders or people from Mozambique or Venezuela or Chinese food. What I'm talking about, when I talk about fear, is that what you had? Yeah, Chinese food, I'm a winner! There goes the bell. So you can open your eyes for a second while I explain what it is. So what I'm looking for is something that maybe gives you some discomfort. And it may or may not relate to cycling, as I say. And it could be something interpersonally. It could be a struggle that maybe you have with family members or peers or whatever. But I want you to think about something you fear. It could be intimacy, for instance. We don't fear intimacy, do we? I don't know, maybe. But shut your eyes. Think about something you fear. Now in your mind's eye, I want you to turn that fear into an object. It can be any object you like. But I want you to make the fear an object. An everyday object. Something that makes sense, so you can connect to that fear. I also want you in your mind's eye to take yourself somewhere that's kind of special to you. So take yourself off to somewhere special. It could be indoors, it could be outdoors, it could be at the beach, it could be at the lake, it could be wherever you want. It could be on the road, somewhere that you like cycling, or a track, or a BMX track, or whatever. But take yourself to your place. And I want you to see again the object that characterizes this fear you have. See the object in front of you, and try and visualize yourself walking around the object, taking in every little detail of the object. Taking its color, its size, its form, shape. Give the fear a name. So as you walk around inspecting it, scrutinizing it, admiring it, give it a name. Take the time to try and understand this fear. Again, give it a name, give it a color, give it a size, give it shape, give it form, give it personality. In your mind's eye, I want you to step back from the object and view it from a few yards away. And I want you to slowly allow the object to grow in size. Very slowly. Let it get bigger. I want you to let the object grow in size and magnitude that might resemble how big that fear is for you. Obviously, if it's a really big fear, the object may grow to be quite an intense size. Allow it to grow slowly into a size that resembles how much of a fear this is for you. Stepping back, see yourself walking slowly around it. Look at the fear. Still giving it a name. Stop for a second in your mind's eye. Now I want you to try and allow the fear to grow smaller. Very slowly, let that fear get smaller and smaller and diminish in size. Allow it to get smaller than it even was when it first started. Slowly getting smaller and smaller, even to the point that you can hold it in a hand. As it slowly gets down to that tiny size, see yourself bending down, picking it up, and placing it in your hand. In your mind's eye, bring the hand up level with your eyes, and study the object now in the palm of your hand. So small, it resembles your fear. Slowly imagine the object hovering just above the palm of your hand, and slowly gliding off away from you. Slowly, it gets further and further and further away from you. You watch it as it gets smaller and smaller, to the point it disappears. Check in with your body. How do you feel now it's gone? Is there a sense of relief? Is there sadness? Is there confusion? Curiosity? Do you feel less burdened? Check in with your body. See how you feel. Be here in the moment. That fear is now gone. this is a little quirky mindfulness exercise. All of us, let's be honest, have fears. If you're an athlete, there's fear. I mean, we got injury. There's probably even a little bit of fear right here. How quickly can I come back? And how serious is this? And is this going to influence my ability to be able to train hard throughout the summer? So if we get injured, there's a very real fear. And hopefully, touch wood, we don't want to get any more cyclists hurt. It's been a strange year, hasn't it? So people getting hit on the bikes and these things. What we're trying to do there is just show you how we can use mindfulness to really get to something that we might be struggling with. I'll give you a good example. I have an elite athlete here at Lindenwood who, I won't tell you what sport she's on, but she's struggling with a pretty severe eating disorder. And to the point where she would binge and purge about a year and a half ago, sometimes over 30 times in a given week. So 30 to 40 times, and that's a lot. And so she had some traumatic events that happened in her life, and so she was really struggling to rectify and reconcile some of those things. And so I actually pulled this out and did this with her early, a few weeks after we had started talking. And interestingly, when she did this and she talked to her fear, what type of an object do you think she turned her fear into? What's that? I thought she might go with food. It wasn't food. She turned into a scale. So, because her fear was all about how much she weighed and how that would take her away from her sport, and she was very, very worried about her body weight. And she had an idiot coach in high school that didn't help matters because we focused on weight, body type, and the like. Anyway, so this is what she saw. And when she grew it, it grew bigger than her boathouse at the lake where she would go water skiing with her grandparents. It got out of control. When she got it small, it kept getting big again. When she got it small, it kept getting big again. And when she asked it to move away, she could never lose sight of it because it was such a part of her. Now, we do this exercise or something similar, and she can lose complete sight of it. She can control the fear, getting bigger and getting smaller, and she's in complete control of what's going on with this eating disorder, and she's now 387 days without a binge and purge episode. Powerful stuff, right? Because she had the courage to take on this very real fear that was really hurting her athletic performance and say, no more. I'm going to live in the moment, I'm going to live in the now, and I'm going to take care of this. So my point of introducing you to this is another part of centering ourselves to make sure that we don't have distractions, things that are going to ultimately hurt us from being the very best athletes we can be. And we all have them. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nobody in this room that couldn't come up with something that's kind of back here, like I call them ants. Remember Brady? And if you have my sports psych class, we talk about all the time. Ants are annoying negative thoughts. We all have them. Usually they're tucked away back here, but sometimes they get to here and they become problematic. So, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot by asking, what did you come up with? But I'll let you, if you feel up to at some point talking with one another about, what did you get with you? So you can understand how that little technique works. And if anybody in here has something that's significant, let me know, and we can gladly help you work through that. But today we went through a couple of different things. So we went through breathing. Everybody understands breathing now, right? A little bit better maybe. So we went through being in the moment and being present, which relates to all of you being athletes. We did that with the little exercise of eating the kisses. And then we just went through a mindfulness technique which allows you to confront fear. So lots of different ways of using mindfulness, but as part of Chris's program he's got set up for you in psychological skills training, wanting you to be exposed to this. Any questions about this? Was it kind of interesting for you to go through those exercises maybe a little bit? That's good. If nothing else, you're probably going to feel a lot lighter walking out this door, and you won't even understand why, just because you've taken some time to stop for a second and breathe.